援軍の到着だ。
え？あ？
ごきげんよう、聖様。
My friends, I think I figured it out. When it comes to the Saint's powers omnipotent, I don't think I have held back in saying that it's one of my favorite animes. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's probably in my top 10, maybe not top 10, but maybe top 15. It's definitely in the top anime of all time. And you might think of like, oh wow, 15, bro, that's a lot of anime. But when you think about at the end of the day, like there's 25 to 50 anime that come out every season. There's hundreds and hundreds of anime. So giving it top 15 or top 20, that's pretty good. At least for someone who avidly watches anime on the regular. Like I cover at least 10 anime just on the channel. But I finally figured it out what's special about the anime, and I think it's fuzzy. It makes me feel fuzzy inside. It just makes me happy. And even an episode like this one, episode number 3 of the second season, I would say was almost uneventful and was pretty melatonin, right? It was pretty melatonin puts you to sleep. It was pretty monotone. That's the word. It was pretty monotone. And what that means is it was pretty much just like one shot from beginning to end for the most part. But regardless, as I'm watching it, I feel, and that's where I always talk about anime, right? If you're a longtime watcher of the channel, the thing is can an anime make you feel something? And for me, that feeling is warm and fuzzy. And that's what I get from this show. And I love it. And even during an episode that is, I would say, more on the boring side, if I were to be very critical of it, I would say this was a more boring, blasé episode. One of the ones that if you were to binge watch this season, you probably would forget about this episode or what happened in episode 3? I don't even know. You know what I mean? It's one of those episodes pretty uneventful and forgetful. But regardless, what did happen this episode, I think, outshined the boringness of the first 75%. And there's probably, I guess, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 main things that happen, right? The first one is our girl Liz is back. I love Liz, right? I think outside of Sei, remove Sei from the equation. Irie is probably my second favorite, and then it goes Liz. And I love Liz because she gasses Sei up all the time. She gasses her up to do things. She gasses her up to do this. She instigates a lot, you know what I mean? And you just love that about her. Even this episode, she hit Sei with oh, you got a lot of dance partners, and everybody had their eyeball. Everybody wanted a piece of the saint. Everyone wanted a piece of the saint. And she's like, all the boys' leads are different. Whose lead did you like the most? And she got Sei to say that she couldn't decide, which is come on. Our boy Hawks is right there. You could feel him when your ears start to read. He's like, yo, what is that? Our boy Hawks is right there. But she instigates a lot, and I love Liz for that. So she's back, and she also introduced us to Rain, the second or third prince of the kingdom, and basically Asshole's brother. Asshole, that's his brother, right? The long hair, red hair dude. And he seems very I want to learn more about him. He seems very mellow and he gets it, and he seems giggly. I like his personality quite a bit. So, and he seems to be close to Liz too. I like their relationship better than hers and the prior prince, which was a piece of crap, right? So I like that. Okay, the second main thing that happened this episode is the dances, right? So she danced with all the different men in her life, and we got to see, which ones are considered the main men in her life. And it was nice to see how all of them treat her and her relationship with them. And even the director, she saw him and she was like, oh my God, he's, he's looking pretty delicious. You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, the dude you work with every day, he got a little something, So I like that she was kind of realizing that. And then crazy magician guy, I think she's noticing that, yeah, he is effing crazy about magic, but he genuinely likes her. And then you have Hawks' brother who, he's kind of by the sidelines, but he likes her too, probably realizing that, he's more brotherly material, than main material. But you have to just appreciate all of that, right? So I definitely loved kind of seeing her go through all the different important people in her life. I thought that was a really cool thing too. Green hair boy was missing from that, but he obviously isn't as important in the nobilistic status, right? The third thing outside of that we learned this episode is that Sei is basically going to be courted a lot, and the royal palace is putting up their barricades and stuff like to protect her and everything. But eventually, like, she just got summoned to the palace. Like, so some stuff is going to happen here. Is it going to be a marriage? Is she going to have to choose a partner? Like, there's probably going to be some more stuff because the royal palace can only do so much preventative work. Eventually, she needs something to truly stop the bleeding, which is probably a marriage partner, whether it be Hawks or the director or somebody needs to kind of take that reign so that it can alleviate the pressure from probably what the royal palace is feeling for her being such an important figurehead. That's like, I imagine, a princess coming of age and there not being any announcement for a while of a marriage partner to better the kingdom, herself, the next whatever. You just imagine the time period that we're in. Very last point that I'll make, and that's what I love this episode for all of that. Very last point that I'll make is I realized while watching this episode that Sei, she is a late 20s. Like, I don't even know how old is she specifically. Power is let's find out. Omnipotent Sei age. So let me see if I can find out. Let's see if I can find out how old she is specifically. Because I don't know if I actually gave her age away. Yeah, it just says that she's in her 20s. So I imagine she's, mid to late 20s. I would probably say late 20s. She's probably pushing 30 if I were to kind of give you an age bracket there. But what I really figured out this episode was, Sei really represents a portion of the female demographic. Not just in Japan, but I would say kind of around the world, of somebody who isn't like a 10. And what I mean by that is, like, people say, like, rate yourself, and a 10 is like, 9 and 10s are like supermodel, like everybody's head turns when that person comes in your vision, right? I would say she's someone that is more in the 6 to 8 range, somewhere, maybe a 5 to 8 range, somewhere about that. And that's fine. I think that's like every human being for the most part is kind of in that range. But what happens is she was, somebody who was dedicated to work, who didn't really care a lot about her appearance, was just kind of trying to keep up with life. And, as she's at this point, in a realistic sense of like romantic immaturity and romantic ignorance and romantic lack of experience, she kind of fits all those brackets, which I'm sure a lot of women out there do. That, you have these people who are just, they're beautiful in their own rights, that you doll them up and, like her, like you put, really nice garb, really nice dress on her, nice makeup, and they're very pretty, very beautiful. And I think a lot of the female demographic fits that, is like your day to day, you aren't turning heads. But you could if you were to wear the right clothes, put the little makeup, do your hair right the right way, you suddenly start to get noticed a lot. But the reality is sometimes you get lost in the monotony of what you call life. So I like how she kind of represents a good portion of realistic people out there who can probably see themselves in this character of like, shit, yeah, I have my day to day, I go to work, I go home, I go to work, I go home, I sleep, I eat, I go back and forth. And to see somebody like that get isekai'd and now kind of be the center of attention and have more time to herself to allow others, like the mates, to doll herself up and be noticed and be on that main stage and have the interest. It's just a really cool thing to see. And I can personally see how a lot of people can really resonate with that type of character because it kind of represents most of us, I would say. So that was just a really cool thing that I thought of as well too, thinking from like an older adult sense of like, sometimes it seems like, oh, she can't even muster up to say that, Hawks looks delicious. She want to get herself a bite of that. But she wants to say something like that, but she just can't because she's just lacks that, not emotional, but like romantic maturity in that way to be able to be that forceful or confident. Anyways, I could probably talk about this anime for a lot longer. I won't. I'm just glad that I got to see Ira and Liz this episode. So let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you next week.